Now with John Oloyede, he's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning.
Well, yes, indeed. It continues. Who knows until how long? Because there's every possibility. We know how it happens. You get a judgment. Either you go seek interpretation or you appeal the judgment, and it never seems to have an end. But the way it's going now, do you see an end to this? And perhaps without damaging the image or integrity, if you will, of the judiciary?
Well, the ultimate loser is the judiciary, because there's an internal battle. I mean, it's like we are waiting something like a combustion very soon. It's a very unfortunate development that the judiciary will be at war with itself. One would understand a situation where litigants or legal practitioners will write petitions against judicial officers, and appropriate authorities will look into it and give appropriate sanctions. But when the highest judicial officers in the land and the highest judicial body in the land are now involved in a tango that is leading on to death, more or less, one must worry, because if the judiciary fails, definitely the Nigerian state will suffer it, because it's an arm of government. In fact, it's virtually, for those of us in this constituency, it's virtually the most important arm of government. A place where people go to ventilate their grievances. When you feel you've been cheated, those are the people you go to. And now, to hear that these people themselves cannot manage their affairs, I mean, like we say in law, Timio, I fear.
I've heard people say, well, how do you measure the impact, or how this affects the thinking of the man out there, or the impression they have to the judiciary? Have you heard that, and how does it sound to you?
You need to monitor the kind of comments people have been making, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, Nigerians now, when you read some things that people write about the personalities involved, you cannot but be worried that where are we headed?
Could there have been an alternative in all of this? You remember, because we take it back to the genesis of it all, how it started with all the affidavit and withdrawal, and now we thought the NJC would have been able to do all of that settlement. Could there have been an alternative away from the NJC coming into this?
Now, the moment this matter was submitted to the court of public opinion, I personally knew there was trouble. I mean, there are internal mechanisms by which judicial officers may be sanctioned. But the moment judicial officers started castigating themselves on the pages of newspapers, on TV screens, I knew there was trouble. It's not as if there is no way. I mean, there have been judges who have been sanctioned, judges who have been sacked by this same NJC. But now, you see a situation where we must not overlook the fact that the people involved are human beings like you and I. They are fallible. They make mistakes. Genuine mistakes. I mean, very, very terrible ones that you cannot excuse. But they are human beings. They are friends. Now, the genesis of this whole problem, when this matter came up, and it was the case of Honorable Justice Salami against the CJN, Katsina Alu. And one says, oh, you tried to influence me. You tried to influence me, and it's because I rebuffed your overture. That's why you want to punish me. And this thing was submitted to some people came up with some petitions that, oh, this one was fraternizing with litigants. And definitely in the eye of the common man in the public, the man in the street, he will feel that, look, there is no way the other side could have gotten justice. So all these were then submitted to a body. The chairman of the NJC is the CJN. The deputy chairman is the next in seniority, Mustafa. Now, they brought all these up, and at the end of deliberations, they were both given a sort of soft landing. But it wasn't soft. It was very hard on one. Because when you say, oh, Justice Salami, okay, he was on good terms with some of these litigants. He had a good relationship with them. That is an indictment. Especially where it can be shown that in some of these proceedings, he sat on some of them. Now, then you now said, oh, he made allegations against the CJN, but the allegations are unfounded. That is an indication of perjury. you tell me that the person who heads the second highest court, the second highest court in the land, lied, even on oath.
So
and you expect that is soft landing.
So it has its implications.
Definitely.
But you know, in all of this, I mean, here we are taking a look at the Senate Committee's ad hoc hearing on this BP matter. Questions, so many questions as to how things happen. People talking about how come institutions don't work. And then here is one where a whole lot of people thought, okay, well, at the end of the day, I have to run to the judiciary if need be. And now we have this kind of stuff. So
it's a never-ending tale of woe. I can assure you that it is not the case that has been filed by Honorable Justice Salami that will end this matter. Reason being that, you see, in our profession, seniority is very sacrosanct. Now, you put a case involving the CJN, the PCA, the NJC, before a high court. I mean, who is lower in rank to all these people? They say, where two elephants fight, the grass must suffer.
So
who is that judge
matters.
who will say the CJN, Mustafa, NJC, they are wrong? And who is that person?
Are you saying that also comes to play here?
I'm telling you, see, we lawyers, we speak with tongue in cheek. We don't want to be open with certain things. But the truth of the matter, to you, the man on the street, because we are using a subjective standard now, not objective standard. We are saying, okay, how will the common man on the street see it? Now, after the NJC deliberated, they came up with something that, okay, this is wrong, this is wrong. Okay, now they now pushed it to another panel, which I believe, I mean, the NJC, previously, when there's a petition against a judge, the NJC will take a decision, and that's the decision. But in this particular case, the NJC knew, I mean, they knew that this thing will not go away. Then they constituted another committee headed by Justice Auta, the president of the Federal High Court, to now issue a sanction. Why? Why didn't the NJC just make a pronouncement? Because, the NJC would virtually be sitting over a matter in which is already involved, because the chairman and the deputy are at the Supreme Court.
So
the CJN.
At the end of the day, if this ends, even though you say this court matters may not necessarily end it.
It can't end it.
What would have happened to the impression that people have? Because, I mean, remember before all of this broke, politicians were putting up advertorials, making comments about members of that profession, high-ranking ones at that.
Yeah.
And then people thought, wait a minute.
Okay, look at this issue of service. Look at the issue of service of process, for instance. And you need to listen to what one of the senior counsel in the matter, the comments he made. You need to listen to what an erudite professor of law said about, using very strong terms, irresponsible and all that, about the NJC.